Okay, let's start now. Last class, we were discussing about inheritance concept in Pega. Okay, let's try to recollect some points about the same. So how many types of inheritance we have in Pega? Two types of inheritance. One is pattern inheritance. Second one is direct inheritance. Second one is direct inheritance. See, pattern inheritance is defined by class naming pattern. The class name itself is going to have a pattern like structure, that is A dash, B dash, C, like that. So that's why it is called a pattern inheritance. So pattern inheritance helps to access the features from the higher level classes to lower level classes. Whereas direct inheritance is defined in the class definition. In the class definition, there is an option called uh, uh, inheritance. I mean, like direct inheritance option is there. There we will be selecting one class. We have to select only one class. And for this, we discussed about our work class or transaction class. So the framework transaction class has the parent, direct parent, work dash, cover dash, and implementation transaction class also has the direct parent as work dash, cover dash only. But later we have modified it. So we have made it possible for the implementation to be able to access the features from framework transaction class as well as OOTB work dash cover dash class. To make that possible, we have modified it. We have modified the inheritance. What is our application? What is that? HDFC. Okay. Okay. So where is that modification being done? I will show you now. This is App Studio. Go to Dev Studio. So this is implementation transaction class called as class group, implementation class group. If you go to the definition of this, here you can find, parent class directed. So this is being chosen as direct parent. So now being a child of, I mean like implementation class group, being a child class of framework class group through direct inheritance, it is also child of work dash cover dash. It is also child of work dash cover dash because work dash cover dash is parent of framework class group, whereas framework class group is parent of implementation class group. What is the funda? That is parent of parent is parent. So through this again, it has another parent. What is that? Work dash. Through this again, one more parent is there. What is that? Base class. Base class doesn't have any parent. That's the beginning of Pega. Okay. That's the topmost class in Pega. And next, see, a class can have pattern parent at the same time, direct parent also. Pattern parent at the same time, direct parent also. So this is called dual inheritance. This is called as dual inheritance. A class having pattern plus direct inheritance parents is called dual inheritance concept. Okay. So HDFC is the topmost class for our application, which does not have any pattern parent, which does not have any pattern parent. Okay. Let's go ahead. Do you have any doubts or any questions from the previous session? Anyone has any doubts or any questions?
In work dash cover dash, the direct parent and the pattern parent are the same. Work
Same.
dash. It
Yes,
can
correct.
be like that.
In work dash cover dash, pattern parent is work dash, direct parent is also work dash. Both parents are same. Usually it is possible. We will also do something similar going forward. It is same, correct. So which inheritance is mandatory? out of the two inheritances, pattern and direct, which one is mandatory?
Direct
Is it
is
mandatory to have pattern parent or it is mandatory to have direct parent?
Correct.
Mandatory to have direct parent because that's a mandatory field actually. That's a mandatory field. Okay.
And sir, one more thing, since we have created this application on top of the framework class, okay, so this is also called a inheritance.
Come again.
We have created this implementation application on top of framework class, so that's also get inherited.
On
So
top of framework class, what do you have?
we have
I'll,
created this implementation application, not the class application.
no, on top of framework. Okay. On top of framework, implementation will be there. Okay.
So it will also, so all the things will get inherited.
No.
Is it not?
See, I already explained no, about this. Creating an application on top of another application
Hmm.
will give you the ability to inherit
Hmm.
the classes, but it won't directly inherit unless you define it. Okay, that's why yesterday we made a modification.
Okay.
Instead of saying mandatory, because default itself is taking at the data.
Instead of
We say mandatory, but Pega itself default is
Uh,
taking.
so can you show the practical like creating a class with the direct inheritance and pattern inheritance, a
we will
separate
do it.
class?
We'll do it. We'll create a class in future with direct and pattern same be having the same class. What is your question?
Pega default is taking as a data.
Default taking direct means
We change it into a
Pega by default take work dash cover dash class as direct parent. That we modified. Okay, slowly you will get to know all about all these things as we start using it. So what is that next we are going to talk about? Okay, so for your information, I'm going to tell you this for your just for your information. You see here, application. What is the name of the application? HDFC Vehicle Insurance. You have currently logged into HDFC Insurance application. Okay, so if you click on this arrow mark, you can see the definition. That means the details about application you can see here. If you log into implementation application and click on this arrow mark and go to definition, your implementation application details are here. These are all the details about implementation. Implementation application is built on another application. What is another application? HDFC INSU. What is the name of the implementation application? HDFC VEHI. HDFC VEHI. Implementation application is created on top of HDFC VEHI, whereas this application is built on another application. What is that application? HDFC INSU. Suppose if I remove this HDFC INSU here and if I select something else, what will happen? HDFC INSU I have removed and I have chosen, let's say, Geico INS. Then what will happen? If I
It's
save
not
this now,
possible.
why it is not possible? The option is there now. It is possible. That's why I'm asking.
The
So what
implementation
change will happen in
the
Pega?
implementation class will be built
Now
on
this HDFC vehicle implementation class is built on the Geico insurance
Yes.
framework.
Now Geico INS will become a framework application for HDFC INSU. Okay, but I'm not going to do it. Just I'm giving you information. If you look at here, this HDFC INSU, if you want to open the definition of HDFC INSU, you can click on this edit icon. Click on this, you can see this is built on Theme Cosmos. What is Theme Cosmos? Theme Cosmos is a user interface framework provided by Pega. So whatever the UI you are seeing, this UI, this Pega logo, Dev Studio, all these things, Pega provided user interface is there. No? So this user interface is one one application. Again, Pega is maintaining this as one application. That is Theme Cosmos application. That is again built on top of what? Pega Rules application. That is what we call as Pega platform. Pega Rules is ID and Pega platform is name. Okay. So Pega Rules doesn't have any built-on application. That's the beginning. The core, what do you call it? Foundation is Pega Rules application, or you can call Pega platform application. On top of it, you have one user interface framework, Theme Cosmos. Okay. On top of Theme Cosmos, you have got your framework. On top of your framework, you have got your implementation. Understand? So the Theme Cosmos in between, you can ignore, no problem. Let's say, for example, I will just tell you one example. I'll draw one diagram and ask you one question through the diagram. Okay. So here is your Pega platform. Okay. Let's say here is your Pega platform. Okay. On top of Pega platform, you have created your framework application. You have created your framework application. This is Pega platform. This is Pega platform application. And while creating framework application, you have chosen build from scratch and you have created your framework application option. You have selected and framework creation completed. Okay. Now after this, you have again gone through create new application wizard. And this time you have chosen implementation application. This time, what did you choose? Implementation application. This time you have chosen implementation application. But this implementation application, what you have done is you forgot to choose framework application while creating. You have clicked on build from scratch. While doing implementation also, you have clicked on what? Build from scratch. This is IMPL app. While creating this by mistake, you clicked on build from scratch and you proceeded further. You created also. That means your implementation application also will get created on top of which one? Pega platform only. So now this is the mistake. By mistake you did it. Now is there any possibility that you can correct this architecture? Right? You want to bring your implementation to on top of framework
Yeah,
application.
you can change the built-on
It is,
application which you showed
yes.
sometime before.
So what you do now is you will log into your implementation application. Okay, now when you log into implementation application, in the built-on application part, you will not see framework. What you will see instead, Theme Cosmos or Pega platform, you'll see. Pega rules or Theme Cosmos, you'll see. Okay, with some number beside. Some number you will see here. Whatever the highest number, you will see that. So now what you will do, you will remove this and you will find out that HDFC INSU, the framework you want, and this number you will remove. Whatever the highest you get in the dropdown, you will select. I'm sorry. You don't have to do all this. This is, I am telling you just for your information and to gain and understand, to gain knowledge and understand the concept. So architecture, sorry, not concept, save. So once you save it, whatever the mistake you have done that you have manually corrected now, yes or no? Online students. So at the time of creation, if you make any mistake, after everything is over, you can get inside and do correct. For everything, it is not possible like this. In case of applications, built-on application, there is a chance. Okay. So for other things, maybe data type and all in future we create, it is not possible. So now what are we going to proceed to discuss now? Let me tell you. I explained about what? Application definition. There you have built-on application. That is what I have covered. So there is no documentation for that. It is even not required actually. Okay. If you want, I can share you one, no problem. Theory document. Okay. Clear everyone? So now what are we going to learn in our journey starting from today? We are done with creating the outside box called application. We are done with creating, having inside boxes called classes. In future, we will create so many classes. But now we need to go inside class, inside application, into the class. We need to create some functional components and attributes. Either functional components or attributes, everything in Pega is said to be rule. So in Pega, everything is a rule. Example, Application is a rule. Application is a rule. Okay. Class is a rule. Class is a rule. Okay. And operator ID is a rule. Operator ID is a rule. So everything is a rule in Pega. Everything is a rule in Pega. Understand? So you create something in Pega, it is called as rule. So now here you go. We are going to work on these things like UI, so user interface development, and we are going to focus on business logic development and database related things, and the process also. And what process will begin to have from the beginning itself. So user interface, what is user interface? User interface is something where people can interact with software applications. See, any application that you want to access as a human being, you need a user interface. You need user interface. User interface is something which gets loaded into browser. Okay. So humans can understand UI and take the appropriate actions based on provided options in the UI. So behind the scenes, whatever you see at the top level in the front of you is called user interface. Behind the scenes, two layers will be available. UI is one layer, that is front end. It is called as front end. Behind two layers will be there. One is business logic layer. Second one is database layer, which we cannot see generally, which we cannot see, but those will be getting executed. So we are going to start our learning with UI. So if you want to work with user interface in Pega, how can you work on that part? That's what I'm going to tell you now. Okay. Just give me 1 minute. Okay. So if you want to work with UI, so what are the things you need to create and how you can achieve this? So to explain this, I will log into existing application, some other batch application where I have already everything created and available. So through that, I will be able to explain you much better. Okay. So aig.com password rules one something. Oh, okay. Sorry. So today, mostly theory explanation only, but whatever that you gain the knowledge, that will be implemented.
Sir, can we give the same password for all applications?
You can use any password, your wish. No worries. Same password for any application. Okay, no issues. Okay, here you go now. See, I'm going to open one flow. Okay, this is one flow. Just that is a simple flow drafted, created. I'm going to execute the flow. Okay, when I execute the flow, what is happening here? There is a screen displayed. Generally, you go to bank application and start loan processing. You click on begin my loan processing, then one screen will be displayed to collect the data. So what you will do, you'll enter the data in the UI. Okay, just go to, let's say here, facebook.com. So if you go to facebook.com, create a new account. So there is a screen displayed. It is asking for your details. So here, the fields what you have here are HTML controls. What do you call these things? HTML controls. This is one HTML control. This is one HTML control. This is called text input. The first two controls are called as text inputs. This is called as drop down. This is called as radio button. So radio button will give you a choice, but out of n number of options, any one only can be selected. Only one can be selected. Two option selection will not be possible in radio button. And drop down also will give you list of choices. Only one can be selected. This is text box. This is text box. This is called button. Green color sign up is there, no? This is called as button. They already have an account. Is called as hyperlink. Is called as hyperlink. This is called label. This is called as, this is header. This is label. Something like that. Okay. So this is what. So user interface is having controls. See, in the browser, the UI when loaded, the data you can enter into fields are controls. Controls holds data. Data holders are controls. What type of controls are those? Input controls. What type of controls are those? Input. This is called input control. This is called input control. This is called input control. What about the button? Is it accepting any input through keyboard? No. This is called action control. That is called action. You will perform an action that is called click action. Click action. Understand? So input controls will accept the data. So data holders, we're talking about data holders. Who are the data holders at the browser level? Those are controls. Controls are data holders. What you do after you enter the data here, you would be clicking on sign up. The moment you click on sign up button, the data you entered in UI will be consumed into business logic. And from in the business logic, a database query will be generated like insert query. Which query? Insert. One query will be generated, database language. And that query will hit the database and one new row will be inserted into tables. Database stores the information in the form of tables. When you register as a new customer on Facebook, your data will be stored into the Facebook's database as one row. Next time you don't have to register. Next time you straight away can log in because you are already registered. You are already registered. How the system knows whether you are registered or not? Your data is permanently available in the database. It will cross check whether the ID password are available in the table or not. Okay, now, so from UI, data will move to internally the second layer that is called as business logic layer. Okay, I will open one document, just stay connected. What is the theory documents? Hard copy. Just let this be open. Okay. So understanding the basic rules in Pega. So here, this is how the communication will happen. How the communication is happening? The communication is happening from front end UI. So the UI, whatever you enter the data will go to business logic. From business logic, queries will be prepared and that will hit the table. One record will be inserted in the table, database table. Now, this is the way UI to business logic to database, forward direction. So in the UI, controls are holding the data. In the UI, who is holding data? Controls are holding the data in the UI, correct? Now, whatever the values you enter in the controls, when you click on submit, the data is consumed into business logic. At the business logic level, there should be something to collect this data, right? See, if I am sending a courier to someone, there should be someone to collect, correct? There should be someone. So UI is giving data to the internal layer. What is that? Business logic layer. In the business logic layer, there should be something to collect, right? Data. Who is that? That is called in general universal language, it is called as variable. What is it called as? Variable. You can also say attribute. You can also say attribute. So in the UI, as you have controls, in the business logic, we have variables. There are variables by name FN, LN, and gender. Whenever you enter the value in first name, last name, gender, submit, then each value, the control value will be given to one variable. How this is been mapped? That means first name control, the value should be given to FN only. So last name control value should be given to only LN. Similarly, gender control, whatever you enter should be given to gender variable. There should be a connectivity, mapping should be done. There should be a mapping. Look at here now. So the user interface in Pega, when you enter the data here. So when you enter the data here, okay, gender male, some date of birth I am choosing, age, and phone number, email address. Okay, so once you click on submit button, this data will be consumed into business logic. In the business logic, who will hold the values? Variables. But which variables will hold the values? Which variable to hold which control value? That is what decided at the design time itself. So in order to design user interface in Pega, you need to create a rule called as section. What is the rule type? Section. So we are starting our discussion about rules in Pega. Section. Section is a UI rule. Section is a user interface rule used to design UI. To design UI that gets loaded into browser. So I will show you the section. Okay. For this, the design environment I am showing, you don't have to bother about how I am navigating. Oh, this is something got stuck. Okay. It's a problem with my browser. Just hold on a minute. I'll open it. Okay, this is the UI. For this UI, I know where it is available. The design rule I will open. This is the rule created to design that particular UI, whatever you see. This is the design environment. This is the design. So your first name, last name, all these controls are there. So when you want to create a new user interface in Pega, you need to get into mind one thing, that is you need to create a rule called section. If I give you a requirement, create so and so screen, immediately an idea should come into your mind that you need to create section. You need to create what? Section. Create section. Some name you give. Whenever you create anything, you will provide a name. Test new section. Okay, some name I have given. Just like that I have given. Okay, something like this. Now, so you don't bother about the navigations because I know this is not the time to teach navigation. This is the conceptual explanation. So in the section, when you create a section, you will get by default one layout that is called dynamic layout. What is the layout name? Dynamic layout. Okay, now. So if you want to add any controls into UI, you must add the controls into layout only. Inside the layout only, controls should be placed. Where are the controls available? Structural, you have different layouts, formats. We'll see these things later. And data capture means from the keyboard or mouse, you can select something or you can enter something. No, those are called data capture controls. Text input, text area, date related, data birth. Date means date of birth, currency, decimal, integer value, age value, integer, email address, email. Like this, there are different controls provided by Pega. You can use whatever you want. You can drag and drop it inside the layout. Outside, if I try, it is not allowing. Inside the layout, when you bring it, it will be highlighted in saffron color. Release it. Understand? Next, pickers. What is the next one? Pickers. Pickers means choosing something. Drop down, radio button, checkbox. These are all will be available in pickers option. Action means buttons, hyperlinks, menu. Menu means this is menu. This is menu. Understand? So menu, all those will be available in action, attachments and all. Data display, just to displaying the data. It's not like you enter, it's not like you'll select, or it's not like you click. Just display purpose, labels, paragraphs, images. Okay, like this. You will be dealing with what? You'll be dealing with data display. Understand clear, everyone? So like this, you are going to have the user interface controls available. You can drag and drop whatever the controls you want to have in your UI into the layout of section. So each control, when you select the control and the right hand side, you see view properties. If you click on this, details about the control will be opened. This control is a text input control and the property is not mapped. What is property? That's what we call as variable. So if you click a down arrow or give a dot, you see all the available properties. Okay, first name. So I have selected one variable called first name. So first name is a variable that is already available in the system, which is mapped to this control. See, first name label is coming. At runtime, the value I have entered in first name field will be given to the variable first name in the business logic. It's not mandatory that everything should match by names, like whatever the property name is there, that will be automatically coming as a label to this control. Okay, so the control is now mapped to first name variable. So at runtime, if you enter a value here and submit, the value will be available in business logic. In the business logic, who will take that value? First name variable will take the value. So variable, what is variable in general? Variable is generalized terminology in every programming language. You see this. Variable is, it is an entity which holds a value. It is an attribute. It is an attribute which holds value, which holds a value at runtime. At runtime. So in the business logic, you will have variables actually. So variable is part of business logic. Now, the equivalent terminology for a variable in Pega is property. What is the equivalent terminology? Property. Property is just like variable in other programming language. Just like variable in other programming language. In other programming languages, you call it as variable. In Pega, you call it as property. Terminology changes. So every property, okay, I'll come to the property before that I will talk about the section, because we are with section now. So if you want to create a new screen in Pega, so that you need to design. In order to design the screen, you'll need to create one rule called as section. So the purpose of section rule is to design the user interface. So section contains by default one layout. Inside the layout, you can add controls, map each control to one property. Map each control to one property. Make sense? Clear, everyone? Now, can I have more than one layout in the section? Yes, of course. You can have a layout after layout. You can have a layout inside the layout also. That is also possible. So what is the purpose of layout? What is the purpose of layout? You see, this is layout, right? So layout also has details, view properties. Click on that, layout. Layout format stacked. I can select inline grid double. Double means what is happening? Two columns are coming. The controls are aligned into two columns. If I add one more control, it is coming next 4, 5, sixth control, sorry, 4, fifth control is coming to third row. Sixth control is going here. Understand? Suppose if I say inline grid triple, 3 columns you will get. Understand? Clear? Everyone clear? Like this, you'll be having inline grid double, triple, stacked. Stacked means stack, you know, right? One on top of another. Only one column stack. So like this, section can contain more than one layout is possible. But as of now, I'm telling you only one layout. Inside the layout, you will have controls. Control you will map to property. So section, while you are creating, you have provided one name. Similarly, if you are creating a property also, you will provide one name. But how do you create a section? You will right click on some class, create user interface section. Like that you will create. Next, I am going to tell you about property. So property we can create under data model category. What is the category? Data model category. This is one point you need to understand. Section can be created under user interface category. Section can be created under which category? User interface. User interface category, the point says section can be created under user interface category. It tells you about the navigation. The point tells you about what? Navigation. So you want to create inside a class. Right click on the class, create user interface section. User interface section. That's a section can be created under user interface category. Similarly, property can be created under data model category. So if you want to create anything, right, you can right click on class and go to create menu. Create option. This is create menu, create option. So second menu is categories menu. Second menu is what? Categories menu. Suppose if I have given you 5 different types of fruits, having each fruit of 10, each one has 10 fruits. Okay. So you will segregate those, no? Mangoes separately, all are fruits only. Mangoes separately, and apples separated, guava separated, and other grapes separately. Like this, you are categorizing, correct? You are categorizing like that. In Pega, so many rules are there. So certain number of rules are being categorized into one category. Certain number of rules are categorized into another category. So the second menu is category menu. Second menu is what? Category. This is rule category. Rule category. So category, if you go into data model category, in this category we have so many rule types. This is rule type menu. What is the third menu? Rule type menu. Create, rule category, rule type. We were talking about property. Property is one type of rule. So property is a rule in Pega. Property is a rule in Pega which comes under data model category. So property can be created under data model category. This is the navigation. Okay. You should give some name now. Okay. Some name you can provide, that is policy number. Policy number. Create and open. Create and open. Just like that I am doing it. See, every property that you create, you must provide some name, and then you can choose here property type. So property type tells about what type of value the property can hold. This is usually called as data type in programming language, but in Pega it is called as property type. Property type tells about what type of value that the property can hold. See, whenever you get a business requirement to create properties, they will give you requirement in a table format. What is the table format they will provide, you know? Okay, they will give you requirement in a table format like, so in the requirement document, you will have a table format where they will provide name, property name, its type, okay, and then control, local list. Even more details can be available. Name, first name, text type, control, text input, no local list values. Gender, next, what is the next one? Insert, how do I insert a new column?
Go to the end and enter the tab.
That's a different thing. Okay. So gender. Gender is text type only. Type is text only. Male, female, prefer not to say like that. Control is radio button. This is how local list. Yes, we have values. Male, comma, female. Two values if you want. Two radio buttons, two values. So this is how you'll get the business requirements. When you are creating properties, you don't have to think about anything. Just blindly follow the tabular form of requirement, and there they will clearly mention you should use as it is whatever they have provided in the requirement. So here you go now. So date property, if you are creating date of birth, you will choose date. You want only date of birth, date. You want date of birth with time, then date time. You want to collect the age of the customer, integer. You want to collect the price, decimal. You want to collect a big number, lengthy number, double. Lengthy number means double. If you want to, if you ask to enter the password of the customer where you want to show it as stars, then you will use password. Okay. So suppose if I choose text, suppose if I am creating gender property, so text, first name property, policy number, text property, text input. Okay. That's okay. Suppose if you're creating gender, imagine text type only, but radio button you will select here. What you will select here? Radio button. Oh, PX you will give. Okay, I'll tell you about this PX later, not now. It's not right time to think about it. Radio buttons. So what are the values that you can give as a choice to customer? Choice you need to mention as local list, male, female, male, female. Understand clear everyone? This is the choice you have to provide. So text property, radio button type of control, male, female. Understand clear everyone? So this is what you would be providing here in the property rule form. This is called rule form. So about every rule, there is a form. Okay, that's called rule form. Okay, so you have to make sure first to be ready with properties. See, if you want to design UI screen, you need section, you need properties. Out of these two, which one you should have first? Properties you should have first. First step is to identify all the required properties of your UI, create those properties. Step 2 is create a section, add all the controls, map each control to one property. Map each control to one property. Everyone clear with this point? So creating UI steps are create, identify and create all the properties. Properties. Second one is create a section, comma, add controls, comma, map the controls to properties, above properties. Okay. See, this section is no more available in the latest version of Pega. Sections are deprecated almost. Okay. You can even create at present also, but the design of UI that is using sections, section based UI development is no more going forward in the newer version. We will be learning about using views, V-I-E-W, view. So you are going to learn to create user interface using views in Pega latest version that I am going to teach you after some time. First traditional approach we are learning. Suppose today if you are going to join any project, so what do you see? Sections or views? You will 95% you'll see sections. But usually market will be like, do you know latest features of something? Then we will hire you. Okay. So you need to learn both. I'll be teaching both. Okay. Clear everyone? So far you have any doubts or any questions? Can we
Yes,
provide
sir.
access to Pega application UI to anonymous user without login? That is possible. Without login means no. Without having an operator ID available in Pega at runtime, you can create a model operator ID and then allow. Okay, but it is good that if you follow the current session, okay, and ask me doubts about the current session, this is too advanced. Okay, so any doubts up to here? Because I have even a bit more to say about our cover for today.
Yes, sir.
Up to this, you are
So,
clear. The most important part I am going to cover now. Yes, please.
so what does the table type mean? Like, what are the other types in the
Table type,
table
okay.
type?
Whatever that I am going to tell you, just focus on that. Others, if I did not touch means that will be covered going forward. Okay. So every option I am not going to tell you in the same class. Okay. So because that is also not possible. Okay. You will get confused when we talk about so many things in one single session. Okay. Are you clear so far? Now, what are we going to do is I'm going to explain you about the creation. At the time of creation, you got a create form. No, create form means this is create form. Right click, create data model property. This form is said to be create form. This form is said to be what? Create form. After create form, you'll get details form. Correct? This is rule form. This is create form. Each form has a meaningful name in Pega. Form means user interface. Now in the create form, what do you provide? Anything you create in Pega, you need to provide a name. You need to provide a name, something, some name you will provide to that particular rule. Okay, but here you have something called as context. See here, context. So context at a create form. Context at a, I'm going to explain you this. Listen to me carefully. See, if I am going to log into framework application, what I do is I'll take a private window and log into framework application using our Pega URL. If you take a normal window, it will not show login screen. Okay. So devfw @hdfc.com, password rules, password I have logged in here. From here, I want to create. From here, I want to create some rule. I can create either by login to framework or implementation, both. Just wait. So I am teaching you dead slow. As of now, I am teaching you very dead slow because it's a very beginning. So this will speed up going forward. Okay, when we repeat the same things, obviously I'll cover it quickly. I'll not repeat the same things again and again. So here you go now. So here, if I am creating a property, right click, create data model property, create data model property. Some name you will provide. But here in the context, you see HDFC Insurance Group as application. But at the implementation, you see, oh, is it our application? No. So we'll go to our implementation because that is to teach you the existing things. I have logged into AIG. So we'll go to our implementation, devimpl@hdfc.com, password rules. In our implementation, we'll try to create property. Property or any rule. This is applicable for every rule. Most of the rules, 99%. Okay. Here you go, Dev Studio. Okay, App Explorer. Right click here, create data model property. Some name you will provide. And here in the context of implementation, you see HDFC Vehicle Insurance, one radio button, HDFC Insurance Group. But in the framework, you see only HDFC Insurance. When you log into framework, you are allowed to choose framework application. Means your rule you are going to put inside framework application. If you log into implementation, you have again a choice. You can either create an implementation or framework. From this, what you can understand is, in order to create something in framework, you don't need to log into framework. If you log into implementation itself, that is enough. If you log into implementation, you can create inside implementation or you can create inside framework also possible. So no need of log into framework. Understand? Online students, are you clear?
Yes, sir.
Next, class. See, these two options only I'm going to tell you. This one I'll cover later in future. So every rule that you create in Pega, you should place inside an application, inside a class. That's what we discussed, correct? So you choose into which application you want to place this rule. You choose into which class. So you remove this class and click on view all. And here you click the down arrow. You see multiple classes coming up here. You can even manually type also. You want to create an organization class? Okay, create an organization class. What is there in that? Understand? So like this, your rule will be placed inside implementation application, inside organization. Suppose if you choose this option, your rule will be placed inside framework application, inside organization class. So can I see the rule which I create inside framework and inside organization application here in my this one? Yes, you can see here. HDFC class, data model, property, and this is what I have created, SDFs, ST, something, some random name. Understand clear, everyone? So like this, every rule that you create in Pega, every rule we create in Pega will be placed inside an application and inside a class, So this is not applicable for very few rules in Pega that will come across in future. Okay, so that is context. Context says either you create an implementation app and you can create an HDFC class, or you can create a HDFC auto I, or you can create in work class, your wish. Framework application, you create inside HDFC class or FW class or HDFC INSU class or work class. Any one of these classes you can choose. This is the ideal combination. For implementation framework, what is the common class? Organization. So while creating an implementation, you are allowed to create an organization. While creating in framework, you are allowed to create in framework. Sorry, organization, sorry. And implementation combination is usually these three classes. Framework combination is usually these four classes. Okay, this is the context we need to choose. And the rule set, in the context, there is some other option, rule set. That will take time. That is a separate topic that will be covered after at least after 10 days or after at least 5 to 6 days. That will be covered. So if you want to create a user interface screen, primarily you need two components as of now. What are those? One is two different types of rules. Property rule, section rule. So how many number of properties you want, those many number you create. So the section you create. Section contains layout. Layout contains controls. Controls will be mapped to properties. Every property will have a name, will have type, table type, local list or something else, and choice values. Choice values. And a property can be created under data model category. Section can be created under user interface category. Whatever the information I have provided, based on this information, following this navigation, we would be creating the properties and section to design a screen to collect the details from the customer. I want to collect the details from customer, so I would collect the details like this. Understand clear, everyone? Online students, are you clear? Every one of you.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Write down the same. Requirement you write today, tomorrow, I mean like Monday, we'll start working on it. Okay. See, otherwise, okay, requirement I'll tell you on Monday only. If you have any doubts or any questions, you can ask me now. Related to what we have discussed today, yesterday, day before yesterday.
Is it not possible to create these sections and properties through App Studio?
It is possible. You can create, but there you will see it like view. In this version, if you create a view also, section will be created. But in the latest version, there are no more sections. Only views exist. It is possible to do in the App Studio also. First, we start learning through Dev Studio. Later, we'll see some of the other things in App Studio. Okay. Next.
So can you create a view in the constellation permission? Like how can you create?
Ask me anything which is related to today's class or yesterday's class or day before yesterday. I'll teach you remaining things going forward. You can write your questions on a notebook that will be covered in future. Ask me anything related to today's session. Are you clear with the points that I have told you, or you have anything to ask me?
And when you have created one radio button, gender, at the time of creation, you have given the, static values, right? So
We can even have dynamic values. That
okay.
is also possible.
Okay.
Values defined somewhere can be brought at runtime and load as dynamic values, choices. Next.
So the property which you created under HDFC, right, that can be used anywhere. If in future, I mean, for example, I'm creating another implementation.
Yes. We can reuse. The reusability also will learn.
Even if I create a separate implementation plan, not this one, like
Organize. If you place it in organization, you can access everywhere.
yeah, but we created from implementation, right? That's what I
No
was saying.
problem.
Okay.
Even though you created from implementation, you created in framework. You created in framework. Okay. So actually, you need to log into framework and create that. But I can do it from implementation only. No, I can create in the framework application by login to implementation itself. As the facility is there, I'm doing it from implementation. Okay, you can do it by login to framework also. But why to log in two places and all?
Got it. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Next.
At the time of section creation, you have selected formats, right? Grid layout, or otherwise triple
I
layout.
did not talk about anything about layouts as of now. I'll tell you about layouts as we proceed further in our sessions. Okay. I'll tell you. So I told you, I will not be covering all the options in a same day. Can we create a custom control if required in Pega? See, in Pega, you can create anything by yourself, custom. You can customize anything that is already available. Both facilities are there, but not recommended to create your custom things.
So, just as you said, like we can use the property which you have created in the organization in other implementation classes or the
Yes,
framework. Can you show that, like, how can we refer it?
it is very simple. See, in the organization, you have a property SDF something. So I'll go to implementation now. In the implementation, I will create a section. Anyhow, this is what we are going to learn tomorrow. I mean, like Monday. Tomorrow is Saturday, no class. Saturday, Sunday, Monday, next class. And here you go now. See. So I will add one control. And I will map this control to property which is available in HDFC class. So the property is from HDFC, but section is where? Section is in which class? Work class, which is child of HDFC in pattern inheritance. Correct? So I'm able to access. Suppose after HDFC VEHI, you have one more class. Other than this work, you have some other class. Will you be able to access HDFC property into some other class? Which is parallel to work. Sibling of work, if you create here, one more class, suppose if you have, will you be able to access the thing available in HDFC into sibling of work? The person who has asked the question, doubt. Will you be able to access or not?
Yeah, we can access.
We can access. That's what reusability. So it's like a family tree structure only. Okay, always you can think about the real world scenarios, then you will understand the technology easily. Okay, that's it from now, for now. And here you go, and I'll attach the documents in the 625 Google Classroom. So here, Pega class 14.25. You can access two repositories will be there. Documents separate repository, videos separate repository. Videos repository is separate, documents repository is separate. Please note that, okay?
And you didn't create a Word document for today's navigations. Will you give it on Monday?
Yes, that's what. Today we did not do any practical. So in the theory document, you will have that navigations available. I will be sharing one theory document, right? In the theory document, you'll be having the navigations available here. So here you go now. This theory document contains more details than what we have discussed. We discussed about property section, right? The theory document with navigation contains property section details, and two more rules will be available in the theory document that will be covered on Monday. That will be covered on Monday. Okay, clear everyone? So this is what you need to go through, and then I'm going to post it. We'll continue on Monday. Okay, so you can wind up for today. We'll continue on Monday. Thank you for joining everyone.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm
Thank you,
going
sir.
to close the meeting. Thank you.